people had video CDs of it. Like, yo, you've got to watch this. The adults don't like.
You all passed around VCDs in high school.
VCD.
What kind of high school did you go to?
I went to math and science high school.
I was gonna say the geekiest school possible.
We played Pokemon in homeroom, and like a good chunk of us played Pokemon in homeroom.
Yeah, other schools' kids puff passed. You guys like burn passed.
Our homecoming was to celebrate Science Olympiad, not the football team.
Oh my god! Wow.
These are the people I saw at a high school reunion 2 weeks ago, or at least a chunk of them. So
I'd start calling out nerd, but then I feel like I'd get
whatever.
I start calling myself out too.
You're looking in the mirror in the bathroom, like, oh, right?
Damn it! As we're all on a video game podcast,
Exactly. It is October. What is it? 7th? I never know. The 7th, October 7th.
Yep.
This GameEnthus podcast episode 438. I'm Aaron, one of the hosts here. Tiny is here.
Hey, I am here. What's going on?
Not much.
I don't know. I'm bringing energy.
Yeah, a lot of it. You're smiling, looking right at the camera, like, "Hey, what are we doing?"
Was someone
now?
chasing you? Maybe was someone chasing you, Tiny? Is that why you have energy right now?
So yes, Michael Myers is actually in the house right now. It's a real scary thing.
Maybe you haven't seen a Halloween movie. You would not be doing this podcast, but okay. Just saying.
See, we can watch his back now. So he's got the camera on, so we can watch his back.
I mean, you brought up how like Jason and Friday the 13th was later or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Again, nothing can top the terribleness that is Jason X. So
You know what's funny about that? There were worse Friday the 13th movies. Even though it wasn't a Friday the 13th movie, it's called Jason X. There were worse ones than that.
Really?
Yes. Like Jason X is 100 times better than Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Or Jason
really?
briefly goes to Manhattan, but films mostly in Vancouver. That's what let's
like, he doesn't go shopping? Does he
I've seen some
like,
scenes from that. Like, yeah, like, doesn't he come by boat? Like, isn't he like...
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, it was a budget thing. They just didn't have the money to have him really be in New York. They did like 2 days of shooting in New York. And that was all they had money. Hey, James. Yeah, but it was
establishing shots.
Part 8 was pretty bad. Like it was, yeah.
But I feel like if you're calling anything Part 8, at that point you've jumped a shark or two, and you just should stop and call it something different.
You jumped a shark while riding a shark.
Exactly.
So yeah, it gets worse. Trust me. It's
I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember seeing Freddy versus Jason.
I love
that movie. Was also ridiculous,
but it was great though. Like I had waited for that for so long. I was like, "What?" I really enjoyed that movie. I had a good time with that. Not a problem. But you know,
but you also like the Resident Evil games, so I don't know if we can trust your opinion on things.
I'm not alone.
I mean,
in that.
some of the Resident Evil games.
No one likes those games. What are you talking about? They're not popular at all. They're not. You're not making tons of games and movies and everything else like that.
It's maybe the obsession with Resident Evil 4.
I don't know.
That's the real problem.
Well, that's because Resident Evil 4 is like the best Resident Evil. Like Village was great, but Village is not as good as 4. 4 is still better than Village. It just
think you are going on record that you feel Resident Evil 4, a game that came out in 2005?
5, yep.
Is a better game than any of the games that have come since.
Maybe you should at least just say you enjoyed it more, or it's more entertaining for you.
Okay.
Or
so,
like,
this is easy. Okay, Ben,
your nostalgia glasses.
Ben, that's fair. That's easy. Okay, 4 is easily better than 5 and 6. Like without even trying. 5 and 6 were not really good games. 7, and to me, 7 was better than 8.
I've played 7 more, so I guess based on that metric, yes.
8 was cool, but like
I have not gone back to replay 8 since I beat 8.
Like I beat 8 recently. It was fine. It just 7 just.
There's some stuff going on in 8 though that like once you know, okay, now it makes more sense. But like there are points where you're like, but I mean it happens in 7 too, where like when the protagonist's arm gets just chopped off, and you're like, let me.
Well, see, 8
throw
had
some
to
tussin on it.
Why that was possible, which was ridiculous in and of itself. But Yeah.
But have you considered the idea that 8 is one more than 7? So maybe it's better.
Well, mathematically, that's just objectively true. Like
There's
no argument to that. That's a very cogent argument to make.
I'm full of very good arguments. It's true.
And in the chat, James says he's going to see the new Bond on Saturday. I saw a couple reviews. I like Bond. The only thing about Bond movies are every time I see them, I'm always like, that's cool. It's just at a certain point, you've seen so many action movies.
Yep.
It's like did I complain about Fast 9 on this show yet? Because
I don't remember you playing about Fast 9. I still haven't seen it yet, and I'm disappointed I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, you haven't seen it yet?
No, because I wasn't gonna go to the theaters.
Oh right, yeah.
Like I'll wait for it to come out on.
Same. I haven't seen it either yet.
Right, because I'm just waiting for it to come to stream. But with James Bond, Casino Royale is legitimately a great movie. I think Skyfall is the next best Daniel Craig movie, but I think it's significantly lower. Like both
Quantum of Solace and
Spectre. Like I watched half of Spectre on a plane, and I only finished it like a couple weeks later because I felt I had to.
What made Spectre so bad was like the fact that it was such a throwback. You're calling it Spectre.
Right, it's all the throwback. It's like Blofeld is James Bond's brother. Sorry for the 3-year-old spoiler or whatever.
I didn't think it was so bad that you had to throw it out the window. But
it wasn't Quantum of Solace bad, but
Quantum of Solace at least has some interesting points to it. Like the bad guy is just a bad guy, and he's the Mysterio of bad guys. Like James Bond just needs to tap him slightly, and he dies. It's not. I don't know. The weird stuff about Skyfall is first, James Bond isn't a code name. It's actually his full name because we go to the Bond estate. And what I was just watching something that the old guy that's at the Bond estate was supposed to be Sean Connery, but
oh my god,
he died.
Slight problem.
So anyway, I don't know. There's and that's that was supposed to be a callback and all this stuff. And I don't know, the parts of Skyfall are cool, but I like
humanizing him, but the way they
I was about to say I like the Pierce Brosnan more, but a lot of the Pierce Brosnan ones are also very bad.
Oh yeah, but they're a lot of fun. They kind of know they're bad.
Sense. When I first saw it, I was like, okay. I 15 years. I was like, oh, I know. I actually understand what this was about. When I saw it in high school, I was just like, okay, that's fine. All right, cool.
Some things are blowing up. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, but Goldeneye is the best of the Pierce Brosnan ones. Because, Die Another Day with Halle Berry is not a good movie. No. That's Diamond Face guy.
Wasn't her name Christmas?
The one I saw when we actually met Ben.
World Is Not Enough.
That was so bad.
It's the one that ends with Christmas. I only thought Christmas comes once a year. You're like, fuck you, bro. And then there's a one in the middle. It's
Tomorrow Never Dies was
Tomorrow
the
Never
most
Dies, Die Another Day.
Yeah. I like Tomorrow Never Dies only because it wasn't good, but it was simple. It was a guy was creating catastrophes to film it to get people to watch more cable news. That was it. There was no crossing.
Right. That's what the stealth boat too.
That's with the stealth boat. And that movie's so bad too.
Yeah.
Man. So I guess Pierce Brosnan doesn't have great James Bond movies.
Honestly,
either.
I think we I'm just gonna say this. I think the character Bond and the fact that he's been played by different actors and things like that is the most interesting part of Bond. Because if you take the movies in of themselves, the action sequences are not you can see better action sequences in John Wick than you can to me. In a James Bond movie, it's the mystique and the history of it. I think that keeps it interesting because it's not a spectacle anymore.
But the Daniel Craig ones definitely are more John Wickish.
They are. Yes, you're right.
When he's doing the parkour through the beginning of Casino Royale and trying to get the bomb maker, or when he jumps onto the train in I think that might be Skyfall and does his little Roger Moore fixes his cuffs after he suddenly jumped onto this train. And that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know. the reason Daniel Craig keeps saying he's not going to come back and do another one is because they're like, he's Brendan Frasering this. Like, I think these movies are actually killing him. Kind of like how the Mummy movies did it for Brendan Fraser.
They killed his career. They didn't kill him physically.
No, like Brendan Fraser. So if you watch the first G.I. Joe movie, Brendan Fraser makes an appearance because it's also done by the same guy who did the Mummy movies. Mm-hmm. And he comes in on a scooter and does not move. And apparently that's because Brendan Fraser could not physically like move without being in pain. Like he went through.
Oh my God.
I didn't realize that.
Dozens of surgeries. And like, so now that he's like, everyone's like in love with Brendan Fraser on the internet or whatnot. And he's on Doom Patrol. Mm-hmm. But like he's not playing, he's doing voice for Doom Patrol most of the time. He's not in the like robot suit. So like it's like but like the Mummy movies, like active, like he had a disc fused because of some stunts and like this kind of stuff. And like Daniel Craig's the same, but like I think there's one point Daniel Craig like breaks an arm or something, and you're like, oh,
he almost died doing one of those movies.
Right, like and it's like like these movies. Anyway,
not worth it.
I want to see this because the one thing I saw someone say this, and I forget who. This is apparently a very Metal Gear James Bond movie, and I want to understand what that means.
Yeah.
But for someone using that kind of terminology, I'm like, okay, I'll go see this. I mean, I was probably gonna go see it anyway, but
I'm not rushing to the theater, but I would like to see it.
Oh, that's definitely gonna be another drive-in movie. So I wonder. I guess I don't know how.
I was gonna say I'm sad I missed Shang-Chi and the drive-in. I was really looking forward to that.
Well, I mean,
you still need to go see that.
You've still got what? Now you've got 35 days until it comes out on Disney Plus. Now they pushed it to November
12th, I think.
12th.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So like right before Eternals comes out.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Looks good.
Anyway, I don't think we've introduced Ben yet.
We have
not. I've always been here.
So my cousin and friend Ben is joining us. Welcome, sir. What have you been up to?
Hey, I have been doing so much, and I want to stop.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm living my life, doing my best job I can. Everyone is moving. Everyone in the world is moving. My mother's moving. My sister's moving, and now I'm moving too. They have both moved to New Hampshire. I've been helping them with that process, selling their house and doing all sorts of things since June, July, and now I'm moving in with my girlfriend in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. I don't even know how far away it is, but it's not tomorrow. That's what matters. It's not tomorrow.
So how did you decide like whose pots and pans you're keeping? Like,
great question. We've actually been having these negotiations over the last few weeks.
This has Teflon. It's bad for you. We're keeping it.
So the nice thing is she's been incredibly gracious and incredibly kind in, wanting to make sure, because I'm moving into her place, we're going to make it our home together. So she's been incredibly kind and gracious and wanting me to make sure that I'm feeling as comfortable as possible. I happen to love cooking, and so I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. And so she's had a few things that, she really likes certain pots, certain pans, but most of it, she's like, do what makes you happy. Let's make it work. So, it's been a really nice collaboration of, putting our stuff together. We got a storage unit, which has been a really big help because, A, we want to get a bigger place in about a year once her lease ends. And B, if we want to hold on to something, we just don't really need it in the place right now. Might as well have access to it for a little bit. So storage unit has been a very big help, which is really nice. But so I'm really looking forward to that one. Like through all the stress of family moving and helping them through that and setting up their new lives and everything else, I have movers scheduled to pack me up and move me on Friday the 22nd, which I'm slightly terrified about because I've never not packed my own boxes for a move before. But
that sounds wonderful. I'm just going to throw that out there now.
Like, I mean, we moved. We did it. Well, we also moved our stuff into storage and filled the garage up with boxes ourselves 4 months before we actually moved.
But
yep.
You have a workforce to help you with that.
Yeah, unpaid labor is pretty nice.
Me and you,
I'm sure they were so excited to pack those boxes for you of all your board games and video games and everything else.
They were related, yes. Yes, they were. Yeah. My PS5 was boxed up for like 4 months. I didn't realize it, honestly.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you start to move, you start to look at your stuff again and realize, like, do I really need this? And I moved into this place that I'm in now about a year and a half ago. So I already did a lot of the, going through stuff. But even now, I think I've donated about 3 tubs worth of stuff that I just don't need, that I didn't even unpack or, do anything with out of the last move. And half the stuff that I had, not half, maybe a fifth or fourth of the stuff that I have is going into storage. Cause it's like, I don't actually use this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get a little bit more use out of my Lego chess set. So we'll see how that goes.
We both like board games, so
we very much do. So it's a very good chance that it could work out. Yeah.
Make sure you have some space.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. MAGfest opened up, so registered for that. I'm excited to make a return. That's another thing that's happening in life. And in more real life stuff, I have been staying quite busy at work as well. I took a job in December working for a union at the school that I work at now. So instead of working for the school, I now work for the union who looks over the staff members, and it's excellent and wonderful. Right now we're in contract negotiations. So it's terrifying because I'm on the contract negotiation team as well. Oh. And it's good. It's actually really good and really interesting work. But it can be a little nerve-wracking just because, you are quite literally trying to make decisions that will affect thousands of people's lives. So it's
both arms on their chairs.
They will enjoy their tartar sauce.
Exactly. So things are going pretty well. We're hopefully going to be finishing up in the next few weeks, but it's closed negotiations, so I'm not going to go into too many details there. But outside of that, I've been watching a lot of TV to pass what little free time I have. I've been watching through Silicon Valley, and
that's also I enjoyed the heck out of that show.
It is. I am enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. It's just
how far are you into Silicon Valley?
I am 3 episodes from the end of season 6, which I believe is the last season.
Okay, I was gonna say I was like, oh, have you finished this? Like, you have to figure out what the D2F is, so you can figure out the stroking motion. Yeah.
Yep. That was
good.
That was very wonderful.
Someone wants to join the call.
Hey, I think I know who that is.
And James mentions watching some Star Trek Lower Decks. That show is great.
Yes.
I've been enjoying the heck out of Lower Decks, and
it's so good.
I don't know if last week the episode dropped at 5:00 on Thursday, so I watched it like that time. I don't know if it's dropped today yet.
Weird. So. I actually just watched episode 8. I think it's the second to last episode earlier today. I still need to watch the last episode 9.
Is that the killer, like the machine one?
It was they are doing the holodeck things with the trials.
Oh, that was last week's. I think that's the trial. I'm pretty sure.
I thought there was maybe there was another one that just came out today.
Yeah, it'd be today's. That one's very good. Yeah, the training simulations and like.
Yeah.
Hit me again. So,
I can do this.
Like, wasn't happy only getting an A.
I mean, you gotta aim high. You gotta aim high. Your Starfleet. Yeah. But yeah, outside of that, also watching some trash TV on Netflix called The Circle. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but
what's that about?
Don't watch it. Oh, okay. It's really, really bad, but it's a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to tell us about that Tom Hanks, Emma Watson movie that's like, I think The Circle. It's like a Facebook allegory or whatever. Like, it's just, instead of it being called Facebook, it's The Circle or whatever. It's kind of like,
yeah,
it's kind of like the Google circles or whatever. When Google had a social network.
Circles or whatever. Yeah, I remember that. It is about social media. It's basically like a reality show where people are put into their own apartments and they can only communicate with each other through social media, which is called The Circle, and they have to vote on each other, and whoever's the most popular or least popular gets voted out. And it's just the most brain turn-offy. We have to make alliances to help vote this person off.
That's what this is.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
pretty much.
Did you hear about that? I believe it's been canceled now before it even started. But did you hear about the fundraiser, philanthropy, social, reality TV show?
Usher,
the activist.
Yeah,
the
activist. The activist. That's it.
Yeah. Was part of it because of the host, because she did blackface when she was
oh my god,
Halloween, when she dressed up as a character from Orange Is the New Black. So that was a controversy because she apologized for was one of those I'm sorry you're upset apologies.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. But the premise,
as far as
really
I heard,
dumb.
I think as far as I heard, this one was about they canceled it or turned it into a documentary because they didn't want to have losers, because it's supposed to be different activists are competing to win time in front of some world group of people, and so they didn't want people to be the losers, and they didn't have experts judging them anyway. It was only celebrities.
And how do you edit that? It has to be garbage. You have to make it entertaining. So
who is the villain in this? Oh, you want to raise money for cancer research? What?
It's the wrong kind of cancer. That's
we
why.
Gave them food.
Why do you hate children?
What is this?
Yeah. So it's probably for the best that those shows don't exist. Sounds but yeah, that's mostly it. Yeah, I can talk about the rest later on.
Okay.
That's good.
Mike, if you can hear us and can talk, we'd love to hear how your week has been.
As far as I know, both of those things are true.
We can hear you.
Excellent.
Hey.
That bears out a saying. Hello, by the way.
Hello.
Hello.
So I don't know how much time I can really devote to the show, partially because of things I won't get into and because I need to get ready for too many games tomorrow. But most of what I need, it's more like there's still stuff I need to get done. It's not just oh my god, I need all night to pack 2 shirts. But I guess one thing I'll mention is I finally this past week saw I think it's, what do they call it, just F9, the Fast and Furious Part 9. And,
okay, that's weirdly timely because we were just talking about how neither me nor
how dumb that is.
Neither me or Ben have seen it.
You're in good company then, because wow, was that it was the dumbest and it's wild because I don't remember everything about 8, but my only memories of 8 were that was dumb. Oh, good, it's over. This was, oh my god, that's stupid. Oh god, oh my god, that is so stupid. Now I'm enjoying this. It did get to that point.
So you went all the way circle.
It came all the way around. Oh, and I guess we'll call this a very mild spoiler here. But the scene, there's a scene where Vin Diesel and John Cena are fighting, which is, of course, they have to at some point. That's the premise of the thing.
It's in the contract.
The fight that ensues reminded me so much of when the 2 Terminators smashed each other's faces through everything under the sun in Terminator 3. It was like, this is just a cartoon comedy now, and they're fine. Like, nobody gets injured. Oh, your face just went through a brick wall? You're a Superman now. I get it. That's what these movies are.
I mean, they literally made Idris Elba Superman in the
himself.
Yeah.
But Hobbs and Shaw was fun. It was dumb, but it was fun.
There are several dumb things about Hobbs and Shaw, but the fun part was them playing off against each other, not the. We suddenly discovered the Rock's whole family, and they live in a Mad Max. Guam, it's like, hey, we got rid of all the guns, but we have these giant saws that we made like swords. So also we all, through the power of family, take down a helicopter because at one point the Rock is flexing to hold the helicopter. He's not Captain America.
Or is he?
I mean, hey, who knows?
Just saying, there's American Samoa, so maybe he is.
He is Black Adam.
Maybe
So.
he is Black Adam. Yes, actually, yeah, he's in DC. So,
but that's to me, that's what these movies need going forward. But the thing that still gets me is they still like making references to back when the movies weren't comedies.
They brought Han back.
And
somehow
the way they explained it was just
it's like everything I've heard about it sounds terrible.
Like the explanation for how he's
dumb.
back is just like that's it. That's all you're gonna give me.
Can the explanation just be because we wanted to?
I mean, that
I would have
seems like what it
respected
is.
that more.
Well, they could have. They could have done it more easily in part 7 when they link up to the flowing timeline.
The Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, like
that's when they go post Tokyo.
Oh, we started watching
right.
that. Like, Tracy never seen it. It's go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
That's
oh boy,
best Fast and Furious movie.
That moment would have been easy. They could have just gone, oh, there was a manhole under the car and Han fell into it by accident or something.
But they couldn't have done that at 7 because they just redid it in 6 where Jason Statham kills.
Yeah, but I forget exactly how that exact scene goes.
Like
the
Jason Statham's like
scene,
hiding behind a car and he hits a detonator and the car. That's why the car explodes.
And then doesn't he call Dom or like tell him like I'm killing your friend or whatever?
I forget. I need to go back and watch.
But the saddest part of all to me is they bring back Han and he's sort of not that important in this movie.
No. They could have made him important.
Yeah, he could have. I mean, it's not like he didn't. It's not like he didn't do anything. He just wasn't.
Right. He's family.
He wasn't really. He wasn't entertaining. He was just there.
How often was he
even eating? They didn't even have him.
There's the question.
Oh, he had snacks whenever they was like, is that really him? Oh yeah, okay. He's gonna. Maybe it's not him now. Did he turn? Is it like the MCU movies where everybody just turns into a krill once in a while? Is he going to turn into one of those things? No. He put a nut in his mouth.
It's a Skrull.
Skrull, whatever.
Just
who cares? One of the dumbest things about it might as well be one of those things. From
also,
District
Kree is
9.
the other one. Like krill is what whales eat.
How does it matter? They're fish. They're just
neither of the races I talked about are fish people.
They're all
amazing.
Fish.
I mean, blue is the color of the water, so maybe there's a connection there.
Everything's a fish. Have we learned nothing from Darius? Everything outside of our planet is just a fish of some kind.
Fish.
I thought everything was evolving to be crab.
James is right. Krill is what whales eat. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I yes.
Sorry. And they eat like tons of
I believe
right? They just the baleen
filters it out.
It does. Yep.
Anyway,
and this is brought to you by Biology Enthusiasts.
I was going to say, we might not know about all tax codes, but I can tell you how a whale eats. So, American education.
At least how a baleen whale
Mike,
eats.
can I ask you a question, though?
Yeah.
As preposterous as Fast 9 was, I felt that there were narrative beats that made even the most preposterous action sequences seem plausible. I mean, the fact that this is the 9th movie, yet we're discovering a major character's.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes. Honestly, I didn't think that was quite as stupid as I expected it to be. It was way less stupid than how Han was still alive.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it was. It was still stupid, but it was
stupid
and stupid. Yeah,
and I don't know. Yeah, I don't
want to
spoil them.
They're genetically, or in the movie, they're supposed to be genetically related, right?
Yes, they are actually
like they share a father, I think.
Okay, but there's another character who basically talks about some of their features and basically alludes to like the Toretto family having features of like all nations. So it's like
they have skin, like they have fingers,
they have 2 eyes.
The Toretto has that Norwegian chin. Whatever there was a line in it where it's like they could look racially ambiguous or whatever. It was basically
so
like
really, it's just an open up for hey,
yep.
we'll see who's the next big thing.
The Creed
next
will
big,
be brothers with who's
the next
10.
big, who's the next big wrestler after they get rid of John Cena? After he gets mad.
Well, it's not going to be
Xavier
The Rock
Woods
because he and The Rock don't get along.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, they hate each other.
Well, see, again, well, no, is that true?
Okay, I'll put it this way. There was definitely some on-set tension, I think, in the 8th one. And so apparently, like, the way their contracts were written, I think the tension started even maybe in 6 or 7. But like their contracts were like, they both have to get X amount of screen time, and Rock couldn't get punched more than Vin Diesel,
and like so it had to be counted in one up.
Petty stuff.
And like if you go watch one of the Jungle Cruise interviews with The Rock and oh my God,
Emily
Blunt. Emily Blunt, thank you. I was going to say the lady from The Devil Wears Prada because that was the first movie that came to my head. Emily Blunt, and she's like, I'm sure my friend here, Dwayne, needs acting lessons from Vin Diesel. Like, she talks mad on him for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, he also is a producer, so, I mean, The Rock he might have a big contract, but it's like, Vin Diesel's getting paid, and he's a producer, so there might have been a power struggle there, just like, all right, you don't like me, but I'm one of the producers, so I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah, I'm not going away.
So I'm gonna. This is gonna be. I'm gonna pivot. Something parallel. Did you see the thing about Denzel Washington and Emily Pompey?
Yes,
and
he directed an episode.
Oh yeah. She thought be like, oh, this is my show and whatnot. She thought this made her look good. Like I was confused at.
No, not a good look.
It's like.
Man, anyway, yeah. So I don't know. People having power trips on set. So
I told him what for.
I'm the key grip. I'll grip that key. Go sit down. I don't know what a key grip is. That's what I'm basically.
That was pretty evident.
No idea.
So.
Grips are electricians. They typically handle lighting.
Yep. We all learned. Well, I learned something today.
I think that's right.
You were very confident. Just be very confident.
Well,
Mike, what else you got going on?
That's enough. But I do look forward to when everybody's seen it to have an in-depth discussion about the
stupidity,
the entertainment.
I just need to know what service it's going to come to. Like,
I watched it because I got a text from Redbox. It's just like, hey, here's a code for a free rental. Just straight up. And I was like, okay. I haven't seen one in like years. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And it even said, hey, do you want to rent like the brand new movies that just came out? Yeah, here you go. Blu-ray, that's fine. No problem.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool.
I honestly forgot Redbox even existed.
So did I until you just said that.
I just forgot about that.
It's great. I stopped by. It's a 5-minute walk from my house. That's get a little bit of exercise, Got to rush back before 9 o'clock to return
it. Nice.
All right.
So that's that.
Well then, Aaron, what do you got?
This happened a couple of weeks ago, but we went out. One of my kids wanted Taco Bell because normally on Fridays, like what do you want to eat, and then people get whatever they want. So the youngest wanted Taco Bell, and we're picking it up. And apparently Taco Bell they've thrown their hat in the ring as far as, hey, we have a chicken sandwich thing.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let's grab one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the most whelming thing.
Really?
It's no double down. But
middle of the road.
I had a very different reaction when I ordered one.
Oh, what was yours?
I opened it up and I was like, this is it? This is a cocktail weenie. This is the smallest thing I've ever seen. And they charged like $3 for it.
It was $3.
Oh my god!
It was like $2.70 something. I was like, are you kidding me?
It was nothing
like special. This is not entree sized, even by Taco Bell standards. This was sad.
But to be fair, they did not really market it, so it's like I think I brought the hype in because of what the sign had, like our chicken thing. They didn't.
I've seen tons of ads for it.
Did
I was
they
gonna say, I feel like I've
Dorito-
seen
a
ads
Dorito
online.
taco?
I don't watch commercials, so
Oh,
I should not say that. I don't know.
The Dorito tacos are decent.
I like
food.
those. The Cool Ranch.
Yeah.
Loved them. Delicious.
There's Cool Ranch, really?
That was the best one.
Oh wow.
You say was? Is they gone? I don't really look for them.
Apparently, I think they only kept like the nacho flavor, supposedly.
I don't know.
Maybe James
They're fine, but
can update us. But I feel like the Cool Ranch are gone, which broke my heart.
Yeah.
Not really. It's not that serious. What else? The Resident Evil Welcome to
Raccoon City.
City trailer came
Oh my
out.
god.
Now, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's
horrible.
in theaters only.
It's the reboot of the Resident Evil series.
It's basically trying to take Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 1, the remake, and Resident Evil 2, and it's almost like they're kind of smushing them sort of together.
This live action?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Oh, very much.
Oh, jeez.
But it still
And
It looks
dumb.
super gross.
It looks
Yeah.
very bad.
Yeah, it's
Like,
you can tell.
There were some
like,
effects that you're like, why would a place that has money do this?
yeah, it's like you can tell they got the feedback about the other movies and how they diverge from the game. So they're like, Lisa Trevor's in this game, so they're trying to, give people things that they think they want. It just
See,
doesn't
like
look
you
good.
texted that, and I feel like you need to explain who Lisa Trevor. Like I will
I
say,
don't recognize that.
I
name.
understand who Lisa Trevor is from the Resident Evil lore, but I don't think a lot of people
Okay.
will know who Lisa
So-
It is
Trevor is.
not a name I'm familiar
Remember
with,
Resident
but I've
Evil
also
came out
not
for
really
the
played it.
GameCube. They made Resident Evil the HD one. They remade the game.
Yeah.
But-
Right, it's the one that's on modern consoles now.
Yes.
So if you were to play the Resident Evil game, it's
So
that.
one of the first people they experimented on was his family, and there was I don't know what she was like a kid, right, or a teenager or something.
I think she was a teenager.
And they kept like exposing her to like various viruses, and she became horribly mutated, and she really can't die, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
like
in
her
one of the
cells
light gun
regenerate.
games, Wesker like kills her, but that was one of the light gun games. But you don't. Anyway, all she could really say is mother and the Smash stuff. They have her like chained up and whatnot. But anyway, she's in the game, so they're trying. That's like they're trying to like have the OG
She's
house
in the movie.
but then but then they have elements from the remake.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but
She
All right,
looks very deformed.
Yeah. Is that the? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is the person you think.
They're
Yep.
trying it. I guess we'll see what happens.
Just feels so
Yeah, it's
unneeded.
there's so many zombie things. It's like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like yay Mia Jovovich, but like also it's like you don't need to do this either.
But
wait, she's in it
Actually-
too?
No,
no.
No.
Oh.
I was on a plane recently and I saw the Monster Hunter movie.
I haven't seen
Boy.
that yet.
you
It
watched
is
the
do
whole
not.
thing?
I should not have. I really should not have. It was hot garbage.
It looks
was
so bad.
it's worse than you think it is. Like they
Ooh.
kill off all the good characters in the first 20 minutes.
There were
I
good
was-
characters?
There were some interesting characters,
He was
and
a
then they're just
zombie?
like, and then they kill him off, and then it just kind of dithers around, and it's so dumb. It's just painful.
Was that a Paul W.S. Anderson movie?
I believe it is.
How did they let him do
Might
so many
be, yeah.
Resident Evils? Too? Like I don't.
I mean,
Yo, those Resident Evils made money, and
Yeah,
honestly,
figured they
I
had
think
to.
after we see this, I think there's going to be a renaissance on those Resident Evil movies because I think trying to faithfully recreate video games is probably not the way.
Oh,
Like-
they could just rip audio clips from the original game. You know, people can become Jill
God.
sandwiches and
Master
master of unlocking.
But okay, there is almost no chance those lines aren't in this movie. And whatever, you have a dumb throwaway line. But like, how do you in real life justify why you built the police station into an old museum? So like, you need the Raven's Eye to get the key so you can go to the bathroom. Like, no.
Virus mutated
bring the moon
police
crest
station.
to go to lunch.
Like that, no Publix workplace is going to be like, oh no,
that's your first day on the job.
The inmates stole the emblem. Like, we can't get out of here.
Right. First day on that is we're ripping all this stuff out. Gonna put some cubicles over there. It's gonna be great.
It's like just make it cost $0.25 to go to the bathroom. You don't need a Raven's eye.
I gotta rip this the helmet off of this plate mail so I can shove it in this keyhole to get through into the other office.
This is so bad.
So anyway, I think there may be a renaissance on those like that. The first Resident Evil movie is not terrible.
It was okay.
It's not great.
It's an interesting movie. I will say that at least. Like,
and it opens up. It ends with the first Resident Evil game opening. Like that's like the hive is infected. All the zombies are down there, and like I think you hear a helicopter in the background. So like cool. Like that makes sense. Set it up so that. But like, if you're trying to remake it and like I don't know, Leon does like a roundhouse kick, you're like, why? Like why? What was the need for that?
Because Leon did a roundhouse kick in Resident Evil 4.
Right. Like you
know what they should have done? They should have just done a movie version of Resident Evil 4.
I mean, I think we want to get there, but again, you know what would be there's tons of those movies. It's like The Bodyguard. It's just like if you honestly, you could
why
re-edit.
Are they making that? Why?
You could re-edit the new Bodyguard. Yes, they are.
With who?
Just add zombies into it, and that would be Resident Evil 4. Like just computer language, Ashley, and just whatever the rest of the line from whatever actor it is. And like you Resident Evil, because you know, as much as you love Resident Evil 4, it's just one long escort mission. That's the whole or most of the game.
It's not the whole game. Is really see. If you had played the game, you would know better because it's really not.
Most of that game is escort.
That's not true.
It doesn't have that unpleasant escort mission feel because you tell her to jump in the trash and then everything's fine.
Now, if they might go get her if you don't shoot them.
Right. Yeah.
But it's.
Or I
you
should
can't
play
tell her
through
to
it.
hide deeper in the trash.
I should play through it again so that I can unlock the suit of armor so that they can't take her because they can't physically lift her up.
She can't be shot either.
Right.
Which is kind of cool,
actually. Yeah. Again, I've played through a good chunk of Resident Evil 4. Like I don't know if I appreciate this. Like I have played through I've gotten to that stupid clockwork robot thing. And whatnot.
And yet you stopped.
I did because it's like not as great as you and a bunch of other people seem to think it is. So
that's the thing. Had you enjoyed it in 2005, you'd feel differently. But I've beaten it many times since then because I really enjoy it.
I bought it every time they've re-released it, and I don't know.
Well, you're just encouraging.
So, I mean, yes, I am part of the problem. So
that you are.
What else you got?
I don't know spoilers, but I'm pretty much halfway through Squid Game.
I watched it all over the week.
I'm about 2 or 3 episodes in. It's more interesting than I thought.
Can you say something that gives me a general clue as to what this show is? Because I don't have.
Have you seen Battle Royale?
Oh yeah, never mind. I did hear somebody talking about it.
Yes and no. Yes, but then basically broke people who are in really horrible debt and whose lives are really jacked up, subjecting themselves to deadly children's games.
Yeah, nah, that's not my thing.
No, but I think you like it though because there's like story. It's not just people dying. Like there's story.
It's also got like a weird parallel to Lost. Like if you watch,
I didn't watch Lost.
So there's a whole thing about them getting off the island, and then once they get off the island, it's almost immediately that whole season is how do we get back to the island?
That's Gilligan's Island. That's exactly what they did.
I mean, that's also. But like, I watched the first couple episodes of Squid Game. Like, oh, okay, so this is a lot. Like, cool.
Yeah,
I see what they did.
But I couldn't watch Battle Royale. It was just too. Concept bothers me.
There's a lot of blood behind it. So I don't know if you're squeamish about that. But
there's some stabbings.
Well, it's not. I mean, not killing in general, but this concept where like literal children are forced to kill each other.
Yeah, these are definitely not kids. So at least
these are not kids.
Well,
that
helps.
Yeah,
a
it's
bit.
definitely all adults who like have literally chosen to do this.
Right,
adults bludgeoning each other to death. Is that
like I did not care for the first Hunger Games at all. At the end of the second one, I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this, and then the third one was like, oh, you never mind, this is stupid.
I mean, the third one was kind of dumb anyway. It wasn't even a Hunger Game, but yeah.
They need to turn Scythe into movies, but anyway.
But I don't like the idea of watching kids killing each other.
I mean,
it's
not
disturbing.
That is disturbing, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm liking it. I'd say watch the first episode. See if you like it.
See how you feel after that. Yeah. That's a good point.
It's something else.
If you said they made a Smash TV show, but the characters are those mindless idiots running around with the baseball bats that are just going in to die, I don't. I mean, what do you get out of that? You know, if you just cannon fodder.
You ever see the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Last season's winners.
There are
like
parallels there. Yeah.
But he's like in the like comparing it to Smash TV, he's the character with the machine gun. Like
right. And like there's a character in a group of characters you're following.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone else is relative cannon
incidental.
Fodder. So like there's definitely a point to it, but like there's like 3 other parallel stories going on about someone trying to find their sibling and what's going on with the front man and whatnot. Yeah. So like there's some stuff, and like that last episode really hits, but I'm the only one who's seen it, so I can't say anything.
Now I got to keep going. All right.
So definitely keep going.
And how many episodes are there?
It's like 8.
9.
8 or 9. Yeah, it's not a lot.
I'm on 5, so I'm getting there.
It was a quick watch. Like I watched it essentially over a weekend.
But each one is like a full hour. Like I keep forgetting that.
They're
with like
long,
it's Netflix. They pack a lot in there.
It's also dubbed, which
Yeah.
Sometimes
there's two dubs apparently.
And
apparently, like, one is more accurate than the other.
I need to watch the other one because the one I'm watching,
I want to watch the inaccurate dub.
People are reacting way more than the people who are speaking Korean.
The inflection is so weird. It's so exaggerated.
What do you mean? But the person just went, "What do you mean?" But like, yeah, there's a little bit of a mismatch. Like, but yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, I mean, and this guy's been trying to make this since like 2008. It's like when you see the Hunger Games comparisons, like, oh, Hunger Games came and went while this guy, like, after this guy had already written this. Again, there is a definite relationship to Battle Royale and to the second Battle Royale movie, which is so much worse than the first one. Like, worse, like, story-wise. It's not a good movie. Not, like, worse, like, bloody.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I remember Battle Royale got passed around my high school like contraband. Like, people had video CDs of it. Like, yo, you've got to watch this. The adults don't like.
You all passed around VCDs in high school.
VCD.
What kind of high school did you go to?
I went to math and science high school.
I was gonna say the geekiest school possible.
We played Pokemon in homeroom, and like a good chunk of us played Pokemon in homeroom.
Yeah, other schools' kids puff past. You guys like burn past.
Our homecoming was to celebrate Science Olympiad, not the football team.
Oh my god! Wow.
These are the people I saw at a high school reunion 2 weeks ago, or at least a chunk of them. So
I'd start calling out nerd, but then I feel like I'd get
whatever.
I start calling myself out too.
You're looking in the mirror in the bathroom, like, oh, right?
Damn it! As we're all on a video game podcast,
exactly. You get to talk about video games a little bit. So I'll run through. You mentioned Tokyo Drift. The wife had never seen it, so.
The best Fast and Furious movie.
No.
Yes,
it's not.
Go back and watch that movie.
It's far from.
I watch that movie every time TBS has it on. Like, if I turn, if I turn on cable and Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift is on, I will most likely sit down to watch it.
I haven't finished it because I've forgotten a lot of the movie, but I'm not
like you start off with
That's the
kid that I always
isn't it?
think that's well, yeah. You start off with the kid that I always think is from Forrest Gump, but he's not actually. And then he races the kid from Tool Time from Home Improvement. Yeah. And they, race through the houses and whatnot. And so his punishment is you destroyed like a development. We're going to send you to live with your father in Japan. So he moves there and he meets Little Bow Wow. And Little Bow Wow's like, well, people don't talk to the women, but I make them laugh. Also, I just like randomly sell things that I find. And then they're like, oh, here, let me give you this car worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he goes and bangs it up. And now like Han is there. And
Han is kind of a jerk to him, though.
Yes. But because you also have like the son or the nephew of the uncle that's in the Yakuza. So he thinks he's a badass. And right, like, and then again, Vin Diesel agreed to show up in that movie for 5 minutes so that they would make another Riddick movie, so he could get the rights to make another Riddick movie.
5 minutes is 4 minutes and 50 seconds too generous. Yeah.
So, like, the whole reason they're like, oh, we didn't do too well with Too Fast, Too Furious because we like lost the major characters. So we need something to really tie this. And he's like, cool, I want to make a terrible Riddick movie.
I hope he said that verbatim.
We're gonna get poor who's M in the James Bond. It's weird that we're bringing both back to James Bond.
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench. We're gonna get Judi Dench to play an air elemental. If you want the Chronicle, like Pitch Dark.
That's right. Pitch Black.
This is different movies.
It's a very good movie. Anything else in the Chronicles of Riddick movies are not good.
That's like, right.
The second one is just lore for the fun of it. And then the third one is like half Vin Diesel and his dog. And then they're like, we also want to make like a prisoner movie.
Wait, which one was the Necronomicons one?
That's the second one.
That was the second one? Yeah.
That's the one where they're just throwing out terms and you're like, I feel like I need a dictionary to figure out what the hell you people are talking about.
Does Bruce Campbell show up?
No, because they go to the necropolis.
Yeah, it's the people or the Necronomicons or whatever the hell they call them.
And then it turns out his people, like in the first movie, he's like, oh, I got my eyes shined in prison so I could see in the dark. And then it turns out, but like his people actually have like a natural affinity to it. So like they're just rewriting the limited lore they already had for him.
Again, a different movie. They should have perfect. Pitch Black was really good.
Pitch Black was very good. Escape from Athena and Escape from Butcher Bay are very good. That's about all you need from the Riddick series.
That's it for me too. So Tony, you can.
Okay, I'll talk real quick. So we talked about Squid Game. I have now watched the full series of What If, and I think that ends very strong. And like,
does it seem important? Like, not wrong word. Does it seem critical if you want to keep up with MCU? So
I think this is more. Already? I mean, you're already paying for Disney because you paid for like 3 years of it.
Money spent, but time not.
So I think this whole series, and like they've already announced there's a second series and whatnot that's going to be in production, is to give the general audience the idea of how, like, what could happen in the multiverse. I don't think you need the specifics unless there are some very specific rumors that characters from What If could be showing up in the Doctor Strange movie. But like, there's also the rumor that that's also where like the first X-Men is going to show up because they're all going to be part of some kind of Guardians of the Multiverse.
So is this sort of like when they lied to us and said you have to watch the Animatrix to know what's going on?
No, because like again, I don't think anyone's telling you have to watch this, but like this is the first episode, so I feel like it's long enough from spoilers. If Captain Carter, so Peggy Carter getting the super soldier serum, shows up in Doctor Strange, like, okay, you know where that character came from. Like, but it's not going to be critical. They're not going to be like,
you don't know who this is.
So right. Like, they're not going to be like,
follow along.
Right. Like, it's not going to be, you didn't watch. I think like some of the other stuff. So like, if you're not watching any of the TV series and then you're confused why Sam Wilson is Captain America in the next movie, that's probably a bigger thing.
Oh, sure, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just call
But
it,
like when you say that, like when it just okay, here's a random, like okay, I'm aware of this because it's been talked about, and maybe I could have figured it anyway. But the way you described about a random alternate version of Captain America showing up randomly in another movie got me thinking about X-Men 3, where there were just like, here's a whole bunch of mutants that God knows why they're here. Here's a guy whose special power seems to be he can climb a wall and then he just falls to his death. Like, what is this?
Wait, what?
I mean, they had a lot of lame Morlock mutants in that movie. He's talking about the guy that like loses his power and just like fall. Like,
Right,
I think there's a Wilhelm scream during it. Like,
He's like Spider-Man, but without the ability to shoot webs or look cool or wear a
Maybe
costume.
he had the power to fall.
So, I mean, the rumor I have read is that there is going to be a like counter group, and like somehow Xavier is going to be in it, and maybe Captain Carter and some other characters. We'll see what happens. Like that's an internet rumor. Who knows? Like I don't even know where it came from. So like if that's happens, cool. You can watch the first episode of What If and be like, oh, that's who Captain Carter is. All it is Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. That is the premise of that episode.
I will say at least that first episode was a lot of fun. Like I was just smiling
I enjoyed the
entire
heck
time
out of
through it.
Yeah, me too.
A joy.
I think the Thor episode is a good break from the depression that is most of those episodes. But as someone pointed out, there's not a lot of villains, so everything has to resolve around the heroes in What If. Because like we've killed off most of the villains in the thing. So like, and every time I've talked about What If, I will just keep repeating, hey, most what ifs are, what if something terrible happened to these people? And like everyone died. But anyway, it ended well. I really liked it. It was originally supposed to be 10 episodes. And because of COVID and whatnot, it got cut to 9. So if you've seen any of the toys that were coming out, there's one of Tony Stark and Gamora, and it was supposed to be what if Tony Stark went to Sakaar instead of Bruce Banner. So what if Thor Ragnarok happened, but it was Tony Stark there, and he builds like a Hulkbuster armor and whatnot.
Interesting.
So like that shows up in this episode, but there's no context for it because they never made that episode. So like I'll call that out as just a thing. But like, I don't know. This is interesting. They had announced at some point during the series, like they didn't get to play with series 4 storylines. So like what's going to happen with Eternals and Shang-Chi and all that stuff. So like they are looking forward to doing that in the next round. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think there were some dumb episodes. I didn't like the zombie episode. Like I thought the zombie episode was cool from like, it's a zombie episode, but like, again, they never explain like why people can do things or like, are they keeping some level of intelligence or whatever? So the other thing I'll talk about real quick, I watched, so He-Man, so Netflix has 2 He-Man series now. They have the Revelations. Well, so they also have She-Ra, but they have Revelations, which is the one that Kevin Smith wrote, which is supposed to be like a continuation of the old He-Man cartoon. And then they made another one, which is like a reboot. And it's like, what if all this different stuff happened? And I've watched it, and if you look it up, it's like He-Man and his friends, or like his amazing friends, because he has like 3 friends he shares the power of Grayskull with now.
They just pass it around.
Well, so you have
pass, man. Come on.
Today you have to wear the tiny little shorts and put these
there's this
straps
whole
across your chest.
Fur G-string.
So like the sorceress is there, but there's a younger sorceress that like she gets
furry.
She gets powered up. Cringer is there, but like in this world, Cringer doesn't have claws because it's like a poacher took them. So when he becomes like Battle Cat, like he's all badass. Man at Arms gets like anyway. It's a whole thing. I'll swear to God, I'm pretty sure they were making a mobile game and just like got really into making cutscenes, and they're like, "Hey, let's just make this into a cartoon."
Oh my God!
Nice.
Because like every episode is they all like get into their thing, and then like everyone hits off their ult. So like if you're playing Overwatch or whatever, and like they go through their Skylanders animation of like, oh my god, the armor's coming onto me. Or if you watch that really bad Avengers cartoon from the late 90s, that wasn't allowed to have Iron Man, Captain America, or the Hulk in it. Avengers United. It's so bad. And so like this happens, and then the villains go through their animation of like powering up Power Ranger style bullshit. And then
so it's all to sell toys, is what you're saying.
If there were toys, there's the thing though. Like I don't know. I thought there were toys or like a mobile game. Like I could see how you'd have like all of because they're all like also kind of misproportioned, like more chibi-ish and whatnot. And like
oh no, it's just like Teen Titans Go kind of thing, or like it's so formulaic. And I watched all of it, so I guess they got me. Okay, do you need to have watched the original He-Man series for either of them? Because I never have.
For Revelations, I think they kind of cover it, but like you probably will get more out of it if you have any history. But like I don't remember what He-Man was a way to sell toys. Like that's what Tom Kalinske did before he went to go sell Sega Genesis.
So I was looking this. I just looked this up because when you mentioned it, the reboot, and I was like, okay, I know they did a reboot in 2002 that I watched a very, very little of, and apparently it went nowhere. But I was like, I think they did it again.
They did,
and so I found on the Wikipedia page the New Adventures of He-Man, and I was like, oh god, I remember this. This was their like Transformers Generation 2 attempt at, wait, no, the franchise is still valid. We can still sell toys. Look, he's cooler. He's in outer space or something now.
So wow. I put a link into a Polygon article that has a picture at the top if you want to see what the art style is. I also threw it in chat. But like they all get alts. Orko is now a robot. Oh, no. But like they put a memory chip in it, so like anyway, just I don't know. If you have Netflix, I guess watch it. I watched all of it.
Where's the dislike button?
It was fine. Like, but like there's a whole thing. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. It's He-Man. I like if you're expecting anything really from it. You already made a mistake. The last thing I'll talk about is the internet keeps exploding this week, and I'd really appreciate it if it would stop. The Facebook outage on Monday was a dumb fun because if you used any service that had to authenticate through Facebook, that sucked for you.
Oh, does that mean people couldn't use their Oculus things?
Oculus, if you're using Spotify, like anything that has one of those like login via Facebook instead of
if you took advantage of that.
Right, if you use that for your authentication method.
Yeah, because I don't do that.
You no longer like there are stories I got from people.
Would not connect my Facebook to anything. Good lord. Why give them more information?
I mean there's a question. But like there are, because of what happened, and like this is early stuff, but essentially they pushed in a BGP update that essentially told the internet to forget what Facebook.com was. But like they do their own updates. So they could, usually you just push an update, you'd have a minor inconvenience and the system you'd start propagating the information again. Cool. Except for if you're running your own update system inside Facebook.com, that suddenly is no longer accessible because you just told it to forget what Facebook.com is. So like people couldn't get into Facebook buildings because the domain that their badge was looking for.
Oh my god!
So, and because
Facebook literally doesn't exist anymore.
They're running their voice over IP on the Facebook.com domain.
See, now I know why
call anyone.
You need the serpent medallion to get through the door because if you authenticate through
you need the Raven's Eye.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be able to just throw a brick through the glass window.
So like you can't like people couldn't get into the office. You can't call the security people to tell them to let people into the office because their phones aren't going to ring. If again, you're doing it all through the corporate directory that you suddenly can't access to figure out who to call. My understanding, they started like putting out like giving people emergency Outlook instances so they could get to their email. And so anyway, okay, so that was Monday, and a lot of people wanted to talk about like authentication and how they don't have to rely on the service from the guy that dropped out of college. So there was that, and then the Twitch leak on Wednesday. I hope everyone's changed their passwords.
I should probably get on that.
So what's if you don't really use Twitch, but you have an account, like what can someone do?
No, I mean, if you're using the same password for a bunch of other stuff,
it's already
that's a problem.
Oh, sure.
Like,
but let's say you're not. Let's say
bigger stuff like Mike. If you're using a unique password on your Twitch account, maybe turn on two-factor authentication, but otherwise, this is not going to impact your life.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I even have my address in there. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I certainly don't have any money-related things involved with Twitch.
So I mean, supposedly this was all inside the Twitch system, and it didn't touch any other Amazon systems. I guess we'll find out.
From what I heard, it was like everything at Twitch, like
potentially.
Everything.
So, like the first time they came out and said we got hacked, and then they said, "Oh, it does not appear on the data that's been released. It's username and passwords." But that doesn't mean that whoever compromised them doesn't have that data. It just means it hasn't been released yet.
Two different things.
So, but like they got the API for the apps, they got the alpha version for the Steam competitor Amazon is supposedly working on called codename Vapor. They got the payroll stuff for like, hey, do you want to see what the top 500 people on Twitch get paid? You can see that now. Just also remember, whatever you're looking at there, 50 times it by 2. That's actually all the money they make on those people, and half of it goes to Amazon. So like when people are like Critical Role made $9 million, that means they bring in $18 million, and Amazon took 50% of it.
Damn.
And that's just from subscriptions. Anyway, if the internet could stop doing that, that'd be great. Like, I know it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it's the 7th of the month so far.
People are aware.
Like, cool. Like, people need a break. Like, if we could, it'd be great. All I'm saying. And I think I'm done. I'll be at too many games this weekend. I don't think this show is going to be released by the time. But hey, I'll be there too.
It might. I don't know. It depends. I got to talk to Aaron and see what's going on. Ben, what games you been playing?
Oh boy, been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's been my game of choice lately. I've been enjoying it. It's pretty mindless. The story is not great. Just not great. But the gameplay is fun. But the gameplay is really fun. So I finished the main quest. I'm now doing the first of the 2 or 3 DLCs, I guess.
So when you say the gameplay is fun, do you say it's sort of like rewarding, or is it just entertaining every time someone's skull explodes or whatever? Like whatever your character does. I don't even know. I'm having a real good time just like sniping people with a bow and arrow from like across the map and just, looting an entire fort. So it's like
that's fun for me.
I have
it sounds like Far Cry Primal would be a
superpower.
Maybe I should try that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I like to do with Assassin's Creed games in general. It's like, I'm just gonna, be a badass and overpower the entire thing. It's like, do I want to kill people from afar? Or do I want to run in and just, kill everyone with a giant spear or a couple of axes? It is a pretty brutal game, so it's a little excessive with some of its finishing moves, but it is what it is. You're a Viking. But so now I'm in Ireland, going around Dublin and doing the whole thing there. It's a good time. My girlfriend Nancy has been digging this new game, not a new game, I guess, called Genshin Impact, and has been getting me to
playing that thing.
Yeah, so I've been hearing a little bit about that, and I just brought down the PS4 because apparently there's crossplay. She's on a PC and plays it there, and I'm told that you can also play on PS4. So I think I might be booting that up maybe sometime this weekend. Actually, we'll see how it goes. Giving it a shot.
The first hit is free.
Yeah, I am not going to spend any kind of money in this game. That is a
hard
line.
How are you going to get your character? The loot box.
I just don't give a shit. Like, I love my girlfriend, and I'm here to support her and have a good time with her. But, okay, that's not true. She got me into SMITE, and I spent a little bit of money on SMITE.
The cracks.
So So just a tiny bit. It is very unlikely. Extremely unlikely.
Just the whole check.
G Nitro's just going to be disappointed that he didn't get you into Smite though. So like you should definitely.
I would still play with him. Yeah, Smite's actually a good time. I haven't played in a while.
So it's safe to say that
not
you were
playing with.
Okay, to be fair, I also don't play whatever the main version of Smite that people play is. That's like super competitive with like 5 different people. I've only played Arena and like one other version of that. Okay. So the most super basic version of Smite is like where I stay. I'm like, I'm not in this to, actually get angry at anyone. Like
Aren't you playing your lane? I don't understand. Play your role.
Yeah, I tried that once or twice with people who know what they're doing and lost so horribly. And it's just not worth feeding. It's not worth feeling, as inadequate as I actually am. So it's okay. I don't play games to feel bad about myself.
That's wild.
No.
I was gonna say, I can't wait till I get to my turn.
But outside of that, trying to think. Played some other smaller games here and there. Call of the Sea, and I feel like there was some other small games. I could not get
out of the very first room in that game.
Huh.
What is that game?
It's a fun game. It's really just like a point and click kind of puzzle.
Is it a hidden object game, essentially?
Not exactly hidden object. Like
are hidden the one that started off in VR. Is it the one where like you're like a sail? Okay.
Maybe I don't know.
Is that a spoiler somehow? Like you're a lady on a ship.
Yeah.
I'm in my cabin, and I could not figure out how to get out of the cabin.
Oh, then you are definitely doing it wrong. That's like
like everything I did, it was just like the same. She just kept saying the same things over and over again.
I think that's supposed to be like a hand button or something near the door that you're supposed to.
I can't do that, Michael.
Oh, I'm supposed to use your hand. I kept trying to put my boot through the handle. I don't know.
Back in those days, the ladies' boots are so delicate, you can't boot through the door.
Oh, that's true. Why. Because if your leg got more than 3 inches off the ground, then some of your ankle would show, and then you just burst into flames.
Scandalous.
And then you're a scandalous hussy, so you can't have that.
Showing those gams.
She is not that kind of lady. No, but then D&D. I have a weekly D&D game with some people, so I've been playing a whole lot of that over the last long time now, and that's been fun. Been playing some 5e and Humblewood, which is a kind of little spin-off, but it's play little cute little animals who also like to kill people and be murder hobos.
Oh,
so
all right, fun for all.
Exactly. What about you, Mike? What have you been playing?
So I guess the only thing really to mention again is I decided to after I finished the first character that I played in Ease Origin, I mentioned on I think the last show that I was kind of hemming and hawing about whether I should start over with the other character. And when I say start over, it's like, yes, you play from the beginning of the game, but it remembers that you played the first character. And once you play both characters, it unlocks the third character. And I haven't got that far, but what I have played, Hugo Facts, it's the same levels and the same bosses and the same general story, but all the conversations are different and the way he attacks is completely different. Like he plays like a twin stick shooter without twin sticks. So Unikatova plays like your general brawler, an axe and a sword, you swing away and you got some little abilities, but you're just meleeing everybody. This guy, he's a magic dude, and everything he does is he shoots. So the game plays very different. So so far, I'm very happy that I decided to get into it. I'm about a third of the way through, and it does feel like I'm getting through it faster than my original playthrough with Unikatova. So I'm excited to see where that winds up, because what I've read is that when you get to play the third character, that is the most fun character to play. And supposedly it's like her story was how she remembered things and his story was how he remembered things. And then the third character is like, this is how it really happened. So I think there's something there. And, I'm having fun with it. And I'm glad I'm getting some use out of my Vita, because what else am I going to do with it? I can't prop all the doors open in my house at the same time.
That was the PSP, by the way, but continue.
Well, that could be a second door. So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, not really a whole heck of a lot. I poked at some Game Pass things. The Artful Escape, I've put a bit of time into. I think it's amusing. I'm not sure. I think it's good.
Yeah,
but
that's the one with the guy. You're the musician.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was more action or something.
There's too much dialogue. I wanted like I want to do something. Yeah, I felt the same way.
I've also found that a lot of the verbal portions of the dialogue break if you try to speed things up a little bit by hitting A. So like there would be plenty of times where it's like the character was supposed to say that, but he or she did not. So I don't know. But it's not hard. I mean, I think I'm gonna finish it because I don't know. I've gotten like every achievement so far that I've gotten has been 100 points. So I feel like, well, okay, this is the 10% mark, and I think I've got 3 or 4 of them. So I don't know. I think I'll get through it, but everything else has just been to get quests completed, which I'm knocking out because so far they haven't been too difficult. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. So, Mr. Tiny.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped Aaron. I'm watching you. I'm watching you delete real time, and it distracted me. I saw some tinsel.
Aaron, would you like to go or?
Yeah, I'll be relatively brief. Been playing in terms of analog stuff. I'm playing some Land versus Sea. I like it. It's a tile placement game. One person picks land, one person picks the sea, and you are laying down tiles and trying to every time you basically create like a completely like locked in, I guess plot of land or some or sea. You get points, but then it scales nicely because you can just play just on a basic level, just like, hey, this piece of land is all capped out. I get 1 point for each tile that comprises it. The same thing for the sea, but then you can add things like if you have mountainous regions you put together, you get points for that. If you put together coral in the sea, you get points for that. If you have ships and cargo that are on that you put down on adjacent tiles, you get points for that. So there's different ways you can add things to the game to kind of scale it up. So I played with the youngest and the oldest, and I beat both of them. But for both of them, they were down by a lot because they would have these huge areas that they had not completed yet. You just got to just make sure it's finished. It just that it actually has like edges. But once they did, like our scores were like within 10 points because I was scoring 8 points here, 10 points here throughout the game, but they would score like these 40 or 50 point massive areas and just catch right up. But I don't know, I like it. And there's apparently like the 3-player game is a sweet spot because the 3rd player is a cartographer and
a silent cartographer.
Fun with maps.
You can talk actually. Yep. It's funny you say that because the 4-player game is supposed to be like teams, 2 versus 2, but you're not supposed to be able to talk. The idea is, oh no, okay, the local recording stopped because there's not enough space on my hard drive.
You ran
no! Oh no!
That's terrible. Well, I guess I'll be living off the Twitch one.
There we go. Until they go down, right?
I'll figure it out.
No, it's still up. The Twitch one is still up. That's all.
Oh no! Well, good. I mean, I'll just be grabbing whatever.
No, I'm just making a joke about the internet falling apart.
Yeah, well, or my hard drive falling apart. So what was I saying?
Have to take up a collection.
Yeah, we might have to. Well, basically, in a 4-player game, supposedly, I've yet to play a 4-player one, but you have teams. You have these things called waypoints where you can't say to the person on your team, "Hey, put the tile here," but you can like leave a marker as sort of like a, "Hey, look at this area." But you can also use those to score up little points for yourself. And if you put the waypoint marker on a tile, once it gets surrounded, you get a point for it, you get it back. Or if you complete that body of water or that land. You know, create all the edges for it. So, I like it. It's pretty fun. The weekend before last was a convention called Gen Con, very big board game convention. And this past weekend was a board game convention called Origins. And a company called Pandasaurus. I did some demos for them. So Gen Con has a whole online system where people would spend $2 for like a ticket to do an online demo. And they have a whole messaging system built into the site. So you just go in and you can see who signs up, message them saying, hey, we'll be playing on Board Game Arena or Tabletop Simulator. You know, what's your Discord username? You can link up. Origin didn't really have it that way, but it still worked out. So I was demoing a game called Wild Space and Brew. I demoed Trek 12, which is a roll and write, but it's on PGA. Really fun. But this past weekend, I was demoing Wild Space and Brew. Wild Space is a card game where you have 10 ships. It's a set collection game where you're trying to create scoring conditions of like the most of an animal, every type of animal, or the most of the most scientists, the most botanists. You're trying to just build up like a tableau to just score more points than your opponents. And Brew is a area control game, which it's also some dice placement where you're putting your dice on different spots and trying to gain control of those cards to get points. You're buying potions, which also give you points. You're also training animals to give you points. So, I don't know. Those things are pretty fun. What else? Dice Kingdoms of Valeria. That's a roll and write. I don't know if you are. Well, there's a game called Genshin. Well, basically, there's a game called Genshin Clever, which is a really fun roll and write where it's one of these games where like you have one sheet, but you're all over the place. Like you score one thing here, unless you score something else over here. Dice Kingdoms of Valeria. It's just a prototype, but it comes with 2 sheets, and it has that same kind of appeal. But there's theme, like you're harvesting, you're recruiting citizens, you're fighting. But the same kind of thing where like you're going up on one track and then checking off points in another one. Really fun game. Really enjoying that. What else? Actually, this game got delivered to me. Somebody brought this over. I had met this.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you remember, Ben, at MAGfest like 2 years ago, we played a game called Token Terrors. I don't know if you remember that.
Token Terrors.
Anyway,
that doesn't sound familiar.
The guy, it was like a little board, like not a chessboard, but it was like a checkered board with like 16 spots on it. And you're trying to position like your 3D pieces to defeat your enemy. Anyway, the guy who John Campos, he was designing and the artist on that one, but he did the art for a game called Micro Medusa, 2-player game. One character is Medusa, one player is Medusa, other player is like a warrior. And it's sort of like a rock, paper, scissors thing where the warrior has like a torch, like a dagger, a sword, a shield, and like health. And your shield can block the gaze of Medusa's eyes. Your dagger will chop off limbs. No, your dagger will chop off snake heads on Medusa, and the dagger will chop off limbs. So the person who's Medusa, the box says it's from 6 to 12 minutes, and it's like it legitimately is. And it's a really quick game, but it feels better when it stretches out to 12 minutes because you feel like it's more intense. So basically, like you're trying to figure out whether or not the person who's Medusa is going to put out a snake head, put out another body part to expand, or put out an eye. And if she puts out an eye, it turns you to stone. It turns one of your hearts to stone. You have two. Like you have 2 to start off with, but you can like pull over a third because you can always once Medusa gets down to 1 like tile, everybody re-ups. So you can like double up on a sword, the torch, or the shield. But you're trying to figure out like what are they going to do next. It's pretty cool. I dug it. And the last thing is I had a demo for a game called Zoo King. It's also like a tableau building game where you're buying animals for a zoo and hiring staff, and every time it's your turn you always like flip over like a card that can either like help everybody, or like hurt everybody. I lost. I was playing the designer. I never played before. It was fun. I really enjoyed it, and Oh, I look forward to maybe getting my hands on that one. So that's that's board game stuff, video game stuff. I played El Shaddai. It's on Steam now. It wasn't loading
for all these years
for me at first, but now it is. Oh, it's fun. It's pretty neat. The combat could be a little more fleshed out. You kind of have a really basic subset of moves, but it's still cool.
Yeah. It's very stylish.
Yes, it is.
How many pairs of jeans can you wear at the same time?
Right. How many Amy Grant CDs have you collected?
Oh my God.
All of them.
Baby.
Played the Halo beta. I'm awful at Halo. I like it, but man, am I bad. I just basically.
I'm looking forward. Look, everything I've seen about it looks a lot of fun. Like,
it's very fun. No, don't get me wrong. It is very fun, but I spawn and die. That's pretty much it. Or I will like put every bullet I have in the side of somebody's neck, and then I die. I'm like, well, what is?
Until their neck is missing.
Until their neck is missing. I went back to 12 minutes. That game was frustrating me because I know everything that happens, but I cannot recreate to get into that other room again, and it's frustrating me. Like, what was the thing that I picked? Because the cop keeps like. I shoot him in the arm, but then he tries to stand up and then he falls down dead. It just, I can't seem to.
I think that's a YouTube game for me.
I don't blame you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know everything. Like I know, I know everything that happens. I know the whole thing.
That game's not good. Like I'm sorry.
I just can't. Okay, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. It's not good, but I keep coming back. Like I have to, because I've only gotten one achievement for watering the plant. When do you get the rest of the achievements?
You only get the rest of the achievements on endings.
They gave you. Never mind. Go ahead.
Still playing Kena, Bridge of Spirits, whatever. That's fun. Ratchet. It's funny, Tyna, you were talking about this the other day. I realize why I don't really like the Ratchet games. Like they're pretty, they control well. I don't care about the story. And I don't know about the other ones. I've started a lot of them and never finished them. They're just like arenas.
It's a lot of arena.
It's a lot of arena. They just keep throwing the same four enemies at me in a closed off arena. And then there's a nice, pretty. But what compensates is it's beautiful, but it's empty.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, like people put a lot of time and effort into the game. You can tell visually, it's wonderful. The cutscenes, all that stuff is just top notch. I just don't care. And you have all these fantastic weapons. I never know which one to pick or which one to like really upgrade a lot. I just never know.
You should pick the one you like. Like you should.
I've upgraded the first gun you start off with.
Oh, the blaster.
Because that's the most. Everything else has like 10 bullets. Like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't those games have like out of this world stupid guns? Like this one shoots filthy socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Groovitron or the Pixelator or whatever. Like there are a lot of fun later game guns. They are generally later in the game.
I don't know. That game is just irking me. So I just.
It didn't grab. Like I borrowed the PlayStation 5 from Ben for a month, and it did not grab me. I played so much more of Astrobot than I played of that game.
Oh, Astrobot is way more fun than Ratchet. It just is. I'm having more fun with. I also played Psychonauts too. I'm having more fun with Psychonauts, even though I hate the map, and I hate the fact that the map does not tell you where you are.
That game is great.
But the game is great. The writing is
game
really
is wonderful.
Good. Yes. So that's it for me. So
you need to finish that. Okay. I'll talk real quick. Hey, did you know they made a new Cruisin game?
Yes, I've actually played that in the arcade.
I was going to say, did you know they released an arcade for it?
I played that with other Ben in a real arcade this calendar year.
So yes, Cruisin Blast is also now out on Switch. I might actually put it at the booth tomorrow. Too many games.
So I assume the Switch version does not take your photo.
No, it does not.
Because that was one of the more entertaining things about the arcade.
It has more content.
I'll believe that.
Content. So, it's a cruising game. Like it's like hey, race around ridiculous, doing like nitro boosts and all this stuff. I don't know. It was $40, I think, or it might have been 30. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like I'm playing through, and I've now hit a wall that I have to go back and get like 3 more silvers to move forward to unlock the next set of maps. But like, I don't know. It's a fun arcadey throwback.
Okay.
And I'm sure it runs better than the N64 version of Cruisin' USA.
That's not even possible. That can't happen.
Well, I mean, no, nothing can surpass the 3 frames of that lady waving the flag.
Amazing.
So, but no, like it seems to run well. There were some slowdown that I can remember, but like, I don't know, nothing that I would consider like game breaking. There are a lot of particles on the thing. Like it kind of reminded me of like Hydro Thunder or whatnot. Like you'll go through stages and then suddenly a giant Yeti like swings down a bone club and that breaks the road. And you like, now you're falling through like the land before time or whatever.
The land of the lost.
Right. So
there's room for fun games like that.
Yeah. Like it's cool. It's from Raw Thrills, which is the company that was making Cruisin' and whatnot for the arcades and whatnot. So I got on a Switch. I got a physical copy on Switch. Like I don't know, I've been having a lot of fun. I got it from Best Buy. Like I said, it was either 20 or 30 or $40. I forget. I'll skip this next one. We'll get to it in a moment. I also picked up the Castlevania Advance Collection after last week's Nintendo Direct. Last week or 2 weeks ago. I've been playing a lot of Aria of Sorrow. Like that's the real one to play. It's very good. It's what M2 did the collection. It's the 3 Game Boy games and then Dracula X. And like things
the
scale
game
well.
that in Japan was known as Dracula XX.
Yes.
Because because like Dracula X was the game that came out in Japan, the PC Engine, which is now colloquially referred to as Rondo of Blood. But there was a SNES port or a Super Famicom port of it, but it wasn't the same game. Like
it got
the
heavily
boss
edited.
is the same-ish, but the sound is different. The levels are similarly themed, but completely different levels. And it's a bit harder. So it's worth a play. It's not a terrible game. It's just not the best.
I got this for $20, and like I've been enjoying. Like, I mean, I think maybe that first Castlevania on the Game Boy that I've already forgotten its name.
Castlevania Adventure?
No, the one on Game Boy Advance. Sorry, the one that came out.
Oh, Circle of the Moon. Circle
of the Moon. Maybe a tough one to go back to. But I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Aria on there. It's
Circle of the Moon is much more palatable once you get the dash move or the run move, the ability to run.
Aaron very graciously sent me over a game called UnMetal, which is from the same developers of UnEpic. This is a Metal Gear Solid parody game, we'll call it.
Yep.
Yeah, where you're going through and he's retelling the story to his interrogators, and you're talking about like he's supposed to be Snake Plissken. Yeah, what is the main protagonist's
Solid
name?
Snake.
Solid Snake, thank you. Yeah. He's supposed to be like Solid Snake, and he's talking like, but then he'll revise his story, or like how did he pull this off, and he'll kind of like Prince of Persia. Oh, that's not how that happened, and then change it. So it's interesting. I've been enjoying it. I've only played through I think the first 2 bosses. It's got an interesting art style. Like I mean, I enjoy the Metal Gear games, so like it's a fun one to look at. And then the last one, I flew through this, is Life is Strange: True Colors. Like I had a tough time putting this game down. It was very good.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, shocking. It's a Life is Strange game.
The original, because that's where I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So
I didn't play 2. I got to get back into that.
Life is. I liked. I liked the mechanics of Life is Strange 2. I remember really enjoying that, and like the brother dying. But like again, I think there are a lot of things that happen in that game, but I think that's true for all the Life is Strange's, where it's like, if adults were just better people, we could avoid half of half of this situation. But in this one, you play as Alex. She has the power of empathy.
Is this directly connected to the original game?
No, this has it's just in this like same. I don't even know if it's in the same world. Like they might mention whatever the port place is, or like you can get clothing, but it's all DLC clothing that kind of references the other Life is Strange games. But otherwise, there's no direct connection. Like nothing's there.
Okay.
But like your protagonist can sense other people's emotion. She's a lot like Deanna Troi from like Star Trek Next Generation.
I was gonna ask.
Like as she gets closer to people, she can more like sense their intentions, and like when she's in close proximity, she can actually like essentially read their minds. And you end up helping people like through some personal traumas and whatnot. But like you have to make decisions about like what you're going to do, and like if you will you take away someone's pain because it'll make it easier for them, but like how does that impact someone and all this stuff.
Like lobotomizing them?
No, like so like there I'm not gonna go into
specifics. Might notice the scalpel.
But there are two people that are in like extreme grief, or well, one is an extreme grief and another one is has extreme fear. Like they're very scared of the situation and players in it. But you need them to act, or at least if you want to like go down a certain path. So you could take away their fear. So like they won't be governed by that anymore, and they'll most likely do what you need them to do. Or this person is grieving and she blames her friends for the situation that led to her grief. And like, oh, you could take this away. She doesn't have to feel this way. But like, if she doesn't process this, is what's like, how does that like, and that's what went through my head when like it asked, like, if I take this away, she'll never process it. She'll never like get past it. It'll just be a constant thing in her life. So like you have to make those kind of choices, and how they relate. I mean, if you played a Life is Strange game, like they build up this one person to be a real good person, and then they're like one of the villains. I'm like, oh, mother, whatever.
That sounds familiar.
Like it's the exact same thing as like, you remember how the teacher in the first, spoilers I guess for the first Life is Strange, like the teacher's like the cool adult and whatnot, and then you turn out he's the one with the murder room. Like it's kind of this, like, even though this is 100% a different developer, this is whatever Stage 9 or whatever versus Dontnod.
Well, that's where it seems strange to me that now this is what the fourth Life is Strange game, and they're calling this one number 2, even though it's not.
This isn't Life is Strange. This is the fourth game to carry the Life is Strange, I guess, super header. Let's call it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's Life is Strange. There's Life is Strange Before the Storm. There's Life is Strange 2, which is the two brothers, and then this is Life is Strange True Colors.
Before the Storm. Yeah.
So
what?
Life is Strange 2 is the two brothers. Remember they did that Captain Awesome teaser?
Free,
that was free, and then the two brothers, and one of them has superpowers, and we've talked about this. You know what? I'm going to spoil the beginning of Life is Strange 2.
Wait,
like,
go ahead.
You're the two brother. You're the older brother. Your younger brother is like fighting with, like, he's outside. The neighbor starts picking on him. You push him. The kid falls down and like busts the back of his head. A cop shows up. Your dad comes out, and the cop shoots your father, and that starts this whole adventure.
Yeah, I didn't play this.
I know. It was like
hilarity ensues.
Oh boy!
Like this all starts.
Turn.
Oh, it gets so like, and there's a lot of like, let's say a reflection of what French people consuming a lot of media from America would interpret America during, let's say, 2016 to 2020.
Right. Sure. But then as a player, can't you just go, why isn't Max here to fix this?
Well, no,
we go back, we move 3 inches to the left.
Again, you don't know. So what happens is your dad gets shot, and then like other cops show up, and then everyone blacks out, and like it looks like a tornado hit the street, and you take your brother and you start running, and you're trying to get to this place, Los Pereiras. So it stands for like the wolves, where your family has Los Lobos. That's it. Has family down there, like the closest family you have, other than your grandparents, who you're kind of estranged from, because they come up during the story. So you're trying to, you as the older brother, are trying to get your brother there, and you discover your brother has like essentially superpowers, like telekinesis, and like he's the reason he got so stressed during that point that he essentially just like his powers lashed out, and that's what happened. So that's Life is Strange.
Is he like that guy from the first Suicide Squad who just like gets angry and everything catches on fire?
He's not a pyrokinetic, if we're gonna, go with that.
Get
though
deep into it.
Like if we're gonna talk about El Diablo, he's technically also not a pyrokinetic because he's like mystically powered, but whatever.
Details are important.
Let me just adjust my glasses now.
Accuracy is important. It's important.
So anyway, now it's more again like in the one. So if you played Captain Amazing or whatever, or Captain Awesome,
I always want to call that game Captain Underpants. I can't remember what it's called.
Like the kid falls out of the tree at the end of that, and the younger brother catches him with like a telekinetic I don't know, blast to stop him from like crushing his head in when he falls out of that tree.
But that whole thing's like 2 hours, right?
Right, because that's all a prequel. Like that was a technology test for them and whatnot.
I think I started it, and then that was that.
So anyway, so this is Life is Strange. This goes places. Like,
so what is this one called again? I thought this was Life is Strange 2.
No, this is Life is Strange True Colors. And the reason
maybe I heard Two Colors.
Exactly.
It is not. But the reason it's called True Colors is because when she sees people's like major emotions, it's kind of like a synesthesia, like it has a color to it, and that's how she can help identify, but also it can kind of overtake her. So like the first time you see this happen, her brother's getting beat up, and like she's channeling the anger from the guy hitting him, and she just takes him apart, like beats the shit out of the guy. So and like so, but like, there's some cool stuff. They 100% play with your emotions. Like the end of the first like it all came out at once, but it's still broken up into like the episodic format. And the end of the first episode, they just like gut punch. You'll see what happens if you play it or whatnot. It's very good. Like I cannot speak highly enough about it. I really enjoyed it. I want more people to play it. It came out last month in September.
Is this another 5-parter thing or whatever?
So it's all out right now.
Okay.
Like if you buy the disc, it'll be all on there. But it is broken into 4 chapters. I forget how many. But there's also a DLC chapter about a side character that's pretty cool. The one other thing I'll talk about real quick is they're very big into LARPing. You know what people are. And there's a whole LARP section in one of the chapters. And at one point, because of her powers and whatnot, they transition from like, people just kind of wearing goofy costumes to like, it's just a Final Fantasy game, a turn-based strategy or turn-based like RPG. And like people look like their characters and whatnot. So that was a fun thing. I don't know if you want to see it. You can go to the Nextlander web YouTube channel and watch that because they're Alex and Vinny are playing through it, so you can like watch the first episode and see what's going on there. But it was very good, and if my friends would like to play it, I have the disc, so I'm more than happy. Xbox.
It does sound interesting.
I'm more than happy to lend it out. So. But anyway, so that's really what I've been playing. Let's talk about these 2 things real quick. Hey, Amazon, or was it? No, it's Netflix that bought Night School, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe they'll do more stuff, right?
I feel some kind of way about this. I really like Oxenfree, and
But what if you could have your original Netflix series have an Oxenfree like game that you could play via your DVD remote?
Yeah, I don't want to play anything with my DVD remote. I don't want that.
Well, speaking of things no one asked for, except for like 3 people on the internet. What if Chris Pratt were to play Mario?
That's so weird.
And Charlie Day was to play Luigi, and Keegan-Michael Key.
I feel like this would actually be better if they were live action and they were actually those like playing those characters. Like I would probably fall out of the chair. I think I would fall out of the chair laughing because it would be so dumb.
I feel like the entertainment potential is greater, but like when they announced this, it feels like how the Poochie episodes actually came out in the end. They're just like, how much nonsensical stuff can we shove on the screen at the same time? Mm-hmm. Whenever Chris Pratt's not on screen, we should all be asking, where's the Mario?
So anyway, there are a lot of names on this. You should go check it out. Taylor, the woman who was in the Queen's Gambit, and I know her from the New Mutants movie.
That was not a very good movie.
It was not a good movie, but she was magic in it. Is
that a description or a character name?
Both.
Oh.
Her character's name was Magic with a K. And she was magic.
Was her superpower that she dined at medieval times?
No, though I also probably would have accepted some kind of erotic dancer joke.
I mean, that also seems like a track. She does spirit fingers all the time. That's it.
Honestly, actually, that's closer to what her power is. Magic is Colossus's sister, who has the ability to teleport. Well, so Lockheed is with her in the movie, but Lockheed generally was Shadowcat in the comics and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She has this ability to open tears, but then she gets locked away in limbo. So she also becomes a magic user and like loves to like release demons. She's also like, I will stab everyone in the face. Like she is no nonsense, and that's the character of Magic. Anyway, I don't know. Like we'll see. It's coming from Illuminations, the people that make Minions and Despicable Me.
It might be okay, but I think people feel some kind of way about Chris Pratt, and
I feel like some people feel the appropriate way about Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I want to like him so much more than I do.
So that's the let's say highlights and stuff. I don't know. This is the start of like real games coming out again. like big games coming out.
Wait a minute. Are you disparaging all the games you just talked about?
No, but like this is Far Cry. Like the Battlefield beta is going on right now. The Halo beta was up again. Yep. Far Cry 6, Metroid comes out this week. What was Aaron? You mentioned something earlier that I had already forgotten about, but I know it was a big game. You were talking about it being played. No, it's coming out like next week or the week after. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like this, like we're getting what traditionally would have been what started in August, but no one cared about Madden. Feels like
we're towards the holiday season.
Yeah, we're hitting like the Switch OLED is available in theory now. Far Cry 6. Back 4 Blood. That's what you mentioned.
Oh, right. That's coming to Game Pass, so we can just play.
And that is coming to Game Pass. So yeah, we can play that. There's like stuff coming out. So
yeah, I've been holding off on updating Avengers. Should probably look to do that at some point.
We should play Avengers at some point.
I downloaded it, so I'm ready.
It's like a 45 gig update. Like what the hell?
Well, it's the Black Panther content, right?
I know, it just seems excessive. I'm just complaining. Let me complain.
Okay. Well,
something ridiculous across the board.
Something not to complain about. This last episode of What If is also Chadwick Boseman's last performance as T'Challa. So
sad story.
So it is something to watch.
Yeah.
But hey, with on that note, Ben, where can people find you on the internet?
Don't. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm around or some active on pretty much everything. But if you know me, you know me. If not, I don't know. Send me an email. I guess I don't really.
I play werewolf with him at MAGfest.
Oh my god! I will play my werewolf game all day long. Werewolf. I did, and it was wonderful. I almost forgot about that. I will absolutely do that again. That was glorious. Artful on all the things, but I just don't really actually post anything because that's not who I am. I'm much more of a consumer. I don't really like to tell people about my life, but I like to talk with friends. So I don't know. My gamer tag is Artful, so if I know you, hit me up. We'll play a game sometime. Yeah. As far as thank yous and shout outs, girlfriend Nancy might actually listen to this podcast. So, hey, Nancy, thanks. You're
Nancy.
Kind of awesome.
I would say it's in advance, but this is the
apologies
end of the show,
for inflicting my presence on you.
It already happened.
I know it's game over already. So here we go. Trying to think what else. She's possibly starting a podcast soon called "Should I Be Mad About This?" So might want to look out for that in the next few weeks. Aside from that, thank you to you guys. GameEnthus is awesome. Aaron, Tiny, Mike, all you guys. It's good times. Love hanging out with you guys. It's always fun.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, and that's I think about it.
Mike, what should people do with their pets?
Spay and neuter.
Take them for a walk.
Well, dogs
that could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, cats don't need the walk so much, but
drag them
attention.
out the house.
They need different attention, which they should receive.
Sure.
And then other animals that I've never had or really had much experience with, I don't know what they need.
Consult a local veterinarian.
I don't know what iguanas
just stay
need.
away from the wild animals.
Yeah, if you want to have things in your house, like if you want to have a pet squirrel, I don't know what you should do. But you probably shouldn't have it in your house.
Squirrel. I was going to say, that probably would be a bad idea.
Well, I found out within the last calendar year that apparently that used to be a thing. People would have like squirrel pets.
Huh.
It was mostly abandoned because they realized squirrels couldn't be domesticated.
Is it bad I'm now thinking about what does squirrel poop look like?
But this
nutty.
Is a litter box?
How would they never come near you? They would just run from you.
So that depends. Because like in college, especially in like the later years, there was an oak tree in the center of this old apartment complex with all the kids. Those squirrels were just brave.
Fearless.
They didn't give a crap about what
and half of them carried rabies.
Probably. Like those squirrels,
take your lunch
brazen. If you're bringing a pizza in, you gotta be real careful with that pizza.
You gotta feed the squirrel first.
You gotta give
before you go to the door.
You gotta give the toll.
Bite that ankle. Get that pizza.
It's gonna break your legs if you don't give it half of a slice.
It just sits there like, where's my nuts? Where's my pizza? I want some peanuts on my pizza next time.
Meat lovers, give me that ankle. Oh.
So anyway, I mean, actually, let's go back to iguanas, and I guess this is true for a lot of pets. The question is, will your pet eat you if you die?
Yeah,
so,
fair point.
Like lizards are the things that pop into my head is like, yo, you were just a food source to them. The question is, are you feeding them? Or are they feeding off you?
Right. I mean, we saw the Tiger King, and bad things happen when
back apparently.
I still have not seen that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hipster up about that one too.
If you've heard the memes, you've heard all you need to know. Like that's all you really need. You don't need to watch the whole thing.
Carol Baskins.
That's I've gotten the parts from it. So
I found out that a couple months ago, I think another one of his former employees died.
Yep. Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry to hear about that, but I'm going to go back to Aaron's please about my hipstering up about not watching that or whatever. Mr. I like indie games and tabletop before a lot of people did.
I didn't say that. No, that's not what I said.
Excuse me.
Hold on.
Do we want to go to the text message?
I said you all used to make fun of me about indie games. Everybody plays indie games. It's not even a thing. You just play it.
We don't have to click the game type icon on the 360 Indie Live thing anymore. No. It's just part of Game Pass now.
Mm-hmm. That was my point. I wasn't saying that because you all made fun of me about indie games. You make fun of me about board games, but then you'll be playing those too.
I was going to try to introduce more Board Game Arena online play, but I won't now. It's winky face. But who knows? Some people chuckled at my affinity for indie games, and now everyone plays indie games. ...
Am I wrong?
Response,
Am I wrong?
Cough, hipster cough.
It's not even a
Response
hipster thing.
from Aaron: being ahead of the game has its costs.
Amazing.
I want to play the board game of I made a game with zombies in it part 3.
You should make that game. That's my recommendation to you.
Oh, Gamester
It's basically a cardboard box, and when you open up, there's a button inside, and it just plays the song. You don't have to play
That's the only thing. You paid $1 for that song. That's why.
Oh, speaking of games, remember that game Anne? Did you kickstart it, Mike, or is that I'm only?
No, I only saw them at PAX East the one year, and I bought the fake bootleg USB SNES controller,
okay.
which it felt great at the show until I plugged it in the computer, and then it was like, oh yeah, this is bad.
And it instantly disintegrated in your hands.
That game never came out, and then like if you go to Steam,
it's like $1,000.
It's like $80, which is it is also a message like don't buy this.
Please,
No,
we priced it so high so that people didn't buy it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
they sent out an email. I got it this morning. Apparently, Anne has a new team. It's coming back out. It's gonna come out. It's gonna get released. It's gonna have online. I'm just like, when I see it, I'll believe it.
Don't call it a comeback
I've
because
been here for
we
years.
never came out in the first place.
It's just like so many Metroidvania games have come out in the last, I don't know.
I don't even remember.
Metroid
cares.
Metroid Dread was announced, canceled, and re-announced, and also released.
But by Nintendo, not But so it's just like I think I kickstarted a game for like $10-15 tops. I don't even care anymore.
Every time I get fooled into kickstarting another thing, I go, oh, why? I swore it off. What am I doing?
You're going to the website. You got to blacklist it and not go to the website.
Well, what? No, I don't go to Kickstarter looking for stuff. I only find links that people say, "Hey, look at this," and I go,
I kickstarted that
piece of candy.
FPS documentary.
Piece of candy.
So
I don't kickstart video games. I don't buy like board games. Yes, because a lot of times I get prototypes in to do previews for Kickstarter. So these are things that actually exist. With video games, nah.
Yeah, but like the follow up to the Messenger, I'm excited about that. But I was not interested in that Kickstarter at all. I'm like, this is going to get funded. It'll come out in 5 years, and I'll pay $12 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's I don't care.
I have 2 open Kickstarters right now. So the
I
first person shooter,
game, which is that box is a giant.
That box looks huge. And then Supercade, a visual history of video games from 1985 to 2001. So.
The year video games ended, apparently, 2001.
At some point, you have to cut off. Like,
no,
it's not just going to keep.
You either go up to the Switch OLED or you shut your mouth. Those are your options.
I mean, I guess. So, all
right, Mike, did you finish your shout outs and stuff?
He did
nope. Donate blood.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Ben, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for people who are watching in the chat. Thank you, James. If you want to email us, podcast@GameEnthus.com. You want to send us a voicemail, 202-573.
And there's a raid.
86.
From Major Linux.
Hey, look at that.
8 people. When we were closing down.
Oh.
But hey, it's the thought that counts.
It is. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. It is October 7th.
No, it isn't.
When we recorded this.
Crazy. Right?
2022 is like 3 months away.
And once we get there, we'll be craving 2023.
Right, like that's tough. That's tough to like put your wrap your head around. But the real question is, have you started your Extra Life page, and are you raising money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital? So
I don't know, and not yet.
I haven't really done anything.
So, well, it would be a great time for you to go to extra-life.org, sign up. You can choose from 170 different children's hospitals, one that's close to your heart or one that's literally physically close to you. And 100% of the money that you raise goes directly to the hospital. And as Mocha mentioned, They also have Tiltify now, so you can also integrate with Tiltify as well as Donor Drive for how you're fundraising.
I think you're saying syllables, but I don't know what any of them mean.
Tiltify is another fundraising platform. But like, if you've ever, I'm going to explain this to you, Mike, and you're never going to do any of this stuff. But like, if you're playing,
you're telling the audience,
like if you're using Crowd Control, which is a plugin for some games that allow the Twitch chat to influence what's going on, that can be done through Tiltify, and this is a whole new option for people. If you are unable to take part, you can go to GameEnthus.com/extraslife. Donate to your favorite Game Enthus personality, and 100% of what you donate will go to their local Children's Miracle Network hospital. Mike and Aaron are raising for Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital down in Baltimore. I raise for Children's Hospital Philadelphia. We have people raising for Benioff's Children's Hospital out in California, Duke's Children's Hospital in North Carolina, all Children's National in DC, all across the U.S. So, like I said, you can go to GameEnthus.com/extra-life and donate to your favorite personality, and 100% of what you donate goes directly to the hospital. And we're also figuring out what we're going to do for our Extra Life stuff. We're really behind the ball on that. We will figure it out soon.
Are we? Don't we have plenty of time? We never do it on game day.
We never do it on game. I mean, it is so game day is a month from today.
Yep.
So
neato.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're gonna do it sometime in December, most likely. So, but yeah, so that's that stuff. And otherwise, I mentioned that during my open thing. But hey, I'm at Too Many Games this weekend. Mike will also be there.
Present to be. I don't know. That was unintentional. I have no idea.
Mike is still planning to be there, as far as
still planning. Yes, that's the point. Point is, I expect to be there tomorrow and through some point Sunday. I don't know.
So anyway, so if you're at Too Many Games, come see us. I'm running the Extra Life booth, so you can come hang out, talk. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So and come see like Some Call Me Johnny, who will be doing a panel. So. And
I see Pat's going to be there, but I don't know about Ian.
I don't know. I know Kid Icarus. Yeah, that guy.
Isn't that a fictional character?
No, not Kid Icarus. No. Kid Icarus. Anyway, the one Aaron.
I feel like it's just still saying Kid Icarus.
Just the same thing over and over again.
Caddy. He was
the eggplant wizard,
but they're not going to let him into the country, so he's no longer showing up.
They won't let him in.
Apparently, it was like they would let him fly here, but not enter the actual.
Oh my god!
It got announced like a week or two ago. Someone else is replacing him. So, in the show panel stuff. So anyway, yeah. So hey, Too Many Games, Oaks, Pennsylvania, Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. It's an hour away from Philadelphia, so it's definitely greater. So yeah, we'll be there. Stop on by.
All right.
Nice.
I guess that's it. We should get out of here.
Coolness.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, hi to the person listening that knows who this is for. So.
Okay. So thank you to the folks who just joined. Unfortunately, we are wrapping up, but we appreciate you being here. Lennox, Mocha Jones, James, have a good night. And Lord willing, we'll be back next week in some capacity. I don't know.
A C-boy?
Yeah, if we decide not to do it, I'll stream again something. So
what he said.
I streamed the end of Life is Strange last time.
Good
Life
stuff.
is Strange True Colors, not Life is Strange 2.
And the song isn't even there. I mean, like, what are we doing here?
Life is Strange Two Colors.
You know what?
They let you sing the song as you play the game.
I let this pass the first time. I'm going to mention this. So there's a streamer mode in this that like turns off like licensed music and whatnot. They don't replace the music though. It's just silence while they're like dancing around and whatnot. And you're like, what is going on?
They should
like,
play that free libraries. They could just inject something in.
They could have just like it's one point you're like you and your brother are listening to a Kings of Leon album that like you used to like whatnot. And I watched this on Giant Bomb because I did not play with the streamer thing on, and it's just dead silence.
Oh my god!
They should take that music that they put over top of Metallica when Metallica was playing their own concert within Fortnite or Twitch or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
The elevator music, it was fantastic because they were like, old man rocking out hard, bordering on a heart attack, and it was like the introduction to a skit from Sesame Street.
That's all they had. So, all right.
Okay. But good night, all. Hey,
night.
I don't know, like and subscribe and whatnot.
Yeah, like
Yeah, smash the button or whatever.
Oh god.
Injure your hand.
Break your
keyboard.
Get GameEnthus on that top 500 Twitch.
Just gently caress the subscribe button.
elbow the button.
Get GameEnthus to have one payout.
There you go. Let's do that. That's our goal. 2030. All right, we're out.
Later.